folks, welcome back to Kdog Goes to the Movies. Tonight, or at least on this video, we're going to take a look at a film from 1992 that was a childhood favorite of mine. And of course, I'm doing childhood favorites this go round, and I just want to talk about some of the movies and show some of the movies that I grew up watching when I was a kid and loved them, still love them to this day. But today we're going to go back to 1992. This was, let's see, how old was I? 8 years old. And my dad and uncle and cousins, we all took a trip to the local movie theater to see this hit movie that came out in the early 1990s, 1992, like I've said many times. And of course, we've all been in this situation about family pets. Which ones to get, which ones do we want, which color, even what gender are they? Well, the most common one is the family dog, right? So, and this is one that we love to watch. We even had a dog that we named after this particular movie dog. It was not a Saint Bernard, hint hint. It's 1992's Beethoven. Yes, we actually had a family dog that was named Beethoven, but he was not a Saint Bernard. But yeah, we're going to take a look at Beethoven from 1992. Starring Charles Grodin, Bonnie Hunt, and who else is in here? Dean Jones, who is a guy from the Herbie movies, and also Stanley Tucci and Oliver Platt are in this film. It's a fun movie. I'll have a little bit more information about it after we watch the flick. It's one of our personal favorites. We love watching it. We laughed ourselves silly. So we encourage you and your family to do the same thing. So dim the lights, grab your snacks, grab your drinks, gather around the TV set as we watch Beethoven, released by Universal Pictures in 1992. Alright, well, that was Beethoven from 1992 by Universal Pictures. And when the film came out, it was not a big win over with the critics. The critics were very, very mixed about this family film. But in terms of box office, it was a huge hit. And it was a big hit for Universal. As a matter of fact, they went on to make a whole boatload of sequels, which I think they're still doing. However, only the second movie was the only film that went to movie theaters. Matter of fact, it continued on with the Newton family and with Beethoven, and the second one involved Beethoven having not a litter mate, but finding a mate and having a litter of puppies. And so, yeah, there was enough there to create a string of sequels, and the rest of them ended up being direct-to-DVD sequels that very G-rated. This one and the sequel were the first sequel were the only two PG rated of the Beethoven movies. As a matter of fact, there's some mild profanity in the film, but nothing that parents wouldn't, they don't want their kids saying, but it's not enough that you go, oh my gosh, that's in there. But there's some other things in here I noticed as I'm rewatching the film. First one, Bonnie Hunt and Charles Grodin. To me, I think they pull off a nice married couple, but I was doing some fact checking. Charles Grodin was 56 years old when he filmed this movie. Bonnie Hunt was 29. And they have a 15-year-old, a 10-year-old, and a 8-year-old or a 6-year-old, 6 or 7. I can't figure out what the kid's age is, but they at least have a 15-year-old daughter. Math doesn't quite add up. But yeah, it pulls off. It works as a family flick. Personal story about this movie. This was the first movie I had seen in a movie theater in quite some time. When I was a little kid, I'll make a confession here. When I was a little kid, I was terrified to go inside of a movie theater. I don't know why. But Beethoven was the one that my dad could drag me into eventually to go and see. But once he got me in there, there was no looking back. I was hooked on going to the movies quite regularly. Now, since then, when this movie first came out on home video, we rented it constantly, and we couldn't get enough of it. And one day we joined what was known as the Columbia House Video Club, and that was when we finally purchased a copy of the movie to wear out ourselves. And it's one of our family favorites that we would go to. We do a lot of movies. When we were growing up, we did a lot of movies that involved dogs. There was Beethoven, there was Old Yeller. And no, I wasn't necessarily traumatized. I knew what happened in Old Yeller was a sad, sad thing, but I wasn't necessarily traumatized. But Beethoven, had an effect on us, and we watched this movie quite often. We named our dog Beethoven at the time. Yeah, so it holds a special place in the family favorites, the go-to. So that is Beethoven. I don't know which one I'm going to pull out next. It'll be another family favorite that I grew up watching and watched regularly. So, but yeah. But also the other thing was, this was doing this again. I was doing some fact checking about Beethoven. This was also supposedly written by John Hughes, but he wasn't necessarily proud of the project, and so he wrote under a pseudonym or an alias. A lot of times writers will do that when they are not proud of a project. They'll put something else as a name, as a screenplay writer. The most common one they use in Hollywood is Alan Smithee. And when you see that name, Alan Smithee, that usually means that it's probably not good, at least in terms of the creative person's view. But in this case, the screenwriter credited is a man by the name of Edmond Dantes. Edmond Dantes is from the Count of Monte Cristo, and many believe that was John Hughes' alias when he would write under an alias or a pseudonym. He wrote under the name Edmond Dantes. And of course, there's another person that's credited for screenwriter. It's Amy Holden Jones, who would go on to work with Ivan Reitman, who produced this film with the movie Dave. Yeah, and yeah, of course, Ivan Reitman didn't take any shame in it, and Ivan Reitman would go on to produce, he's the producer of Ghostbusters, producer and director of Ghostbusters. Also, he would go on to do another dog movie back in 2007, 2008, I believe, called Hotel for Dogs. So, yeah, quite the dog lover. And of course, this is a perfect family flick about, dogs. And of course, any of us who have raised a dog, that it's, what you see in there is maybe a little exaggeration about, wrecking the entire house, but dogs don't know any better, and so they scratch, they drool, they poop, and they do whatever else in your family house. And so, but yeah, Beethoven from 1992. I'm not quite sure which one I'm going to bring out next. There's quite a few others I could pull out that I grew up watching, and the family favorites. So, from me to you, see you later.